And now a word from our sponsors.
We got a lot of names that could be trading places this upcoming NBA season. So I got Raj here. I'm going to do a little bit of rapid fire. I have a list sectioned off. We got our top dogs, we got our guards on demand, and we got our big boys in the other. So we're going to fly through, going to say the name. You're going to tell me what you think of them and where you see them playing next season. Sound good?
Let's do it.
We're going to go top of the top and start with a man that is going to be getting rich no matter what, ACL tear or not. Kawhi Leonard is set to become a free agent, and it just seems like he joined the Clippers yesterday. Now, the injury, is that going to change his suitors this offseason, Raj? Is it going to change the money he's going to take? How do you see this Kawhi thing unfolding?
I mean, 30 teams are going to give a call, you know what I mean? All 30 teams are going to give a call about Kawhi Leonard, but I think he's going to stay. He worked too hard to get to the Clippers. He did way too much maneuvering behind the scenes to get to the Clippers, to get Paul George as his Robin, or however you want to say it, and all that. And the Clippers kind of, during the draft, you know, they used all their picks. They were really aggressive. So you could tell they want to just punt this, not punt, but like, you know, use this year to develop young guys. I think he'll stay, for sure. He's going to stay a Clipper.
Yeah, we don't expect to actually see him. Man, knowing Kawhi and his folks, I don't think we'll see him this year.
Oh, no. Yeah, absolutely not. Kawhi is the most, you know, very conservative with his injury. So I'm sure he's going to. People are saying maybe the playoffs. I don't see it. I think you'll see Kawhi in 2022 starting. Yeah, so.
Crazy.
That sucks, though. Sucks.
It does. You know, F the Clippers, but we are Kawhi fans.
Yeah.
You love the NBA. Yeah. You love what he brings to the game.
For
Next
sure.
on the list, might be a foregone conclusion. The man who has, lifted up yet another franchise from the depths of mediocrity to being a contender. Chris Paul, fresh off of his finals run, is set to become a free agent, whether he's exercising that 1 year or he's about to restructure that deal and get paid. How do you see that shaking out with him and the Suns?
Yeah, so Chris Paul, it's funny. He's the head of the Players Association, and like the rule that he made is perfectly fit for this. You know,
literally for him.
That it's especially for him, which is funny. So I think he's gonna opt out and then re-sign at that, not pure max, but probably like a 3-year, $100 million some deal with Phoenix. Yeah. Imagine being able to decline $45 million and just get more on the back end. It's a pretty nice life. But yeah, I feel like he's gonna stay. He did wonders for that team. Even though they lost in the finals, I think they're growing, and Chris Paul is a big part of that.
The number one biggest joke that I heard this offseason was a Chris Paul sign-in trade to the Lakers. And I'm just like, guys, let's just say some things out loud, right? Like the Phoenix Suns, who are not only in the Western Conference, they are in the division with the Lakers. Yes, there are many guys that have came and gone as far as leadership and ownership. Robert Sarver is still there. He was still part of that Steve Nash deal, had to give it his blessing. But for what reason would the Suns help the Lakers take their best player? And for all intents and purposes, yes, Devin Booker is their number one. They were going to be in the same exact position as they were the year before without Chris Paul. That, you know, he was their most important player. So there was a 0.0% chance that even if Chris said, hey, I want to be a Laker, they were like, all right, go, fine. Do it for $5 million, buddy. That's really how you want to play. So I agree. Chris Paul stays, collects the bag, gets his children's rich, and also gets.
If they aren't already. I mean,
right.
If they aren't already, yeah.
How silly of me. State Farm got the whole family bloodline set. I don't even know if they pay insurance, to be honest with you. I'd negotiate that. I'm wrecking a car a week. I got my face. Let's start getting into a little bit of the unknowns. Probably the most sought after free agent that is up for grabs is Kyle Lowry. Now, you hear that teams like the Pelicans are about to open up their bank of New Orleans to try to lure him down to the dirty. You hear teams like the Heat are about to make some moves to bring him in so he could go and play with his buddy Jimmy down there on South Beach. You know, there are a lot of teams. The Knicks could be interested. Hell, I'm still trying to figure out why the Bulls haven't been linked to Kyle Lowry. Maybe the number's too big for where they think they're at in this rebuild. But regardless, where do you see Kyle Lowry's next home?
So it's funny. New Orleans feels like it's doing this deja vu thing where remember when they had Anthony Davis and they went and just I think like they really rushed their timeline a little bit. They
Hmm.
went and paid Omar Osik a bunch of money. They did all these kind of things through a huge offer at Eric Gordon. I mean, he kind of got hurt, but still like Tyreek Evans. This kind of I feel like Kyle Lowry is going to be a Pelican. I don't think they opened up cap space for no reason. They also went and got Jonas Valanciunas, which he's a good player. I just don't that fit next to Zion, I don't really like either. But that's besides the point. I feel like they're gonna go get Kyle Lowry. They feel like they're in win now, not win now, but they're in like we got to make the playoffs, which is kind of an interesting thing to got to go through. They had to kind of throw away all their mistakes from last year. If you remember, they extended Adams, and now they had to move him. They had to give assets to do that. Eric Bledsoe as well moved off to Memphis. So I think they're gonna go get Kyle Lowry. I don't know if that gets them a 7-6 seed, but that's what it feels like.
Bro, they have to. The Pelicans are now on the Zion shot clock. You know what I mean? Like when you have a star of that caliber and the precedent is you either make it happen or they leave for a bigger market or a chance to win a championship, you start selling your soul to different buyers. And I think this first one is going to be the Kyle Lowry bloodline restitution of New Orleans. So they'll give him a small fortune of the state, and we'll see. I think a playoff berth would help, but at the same time, Zion's cheating from ear to ear talking about Madison Square Garden, and he's going into his third season in the NBA. Not looking great for the home team if you're a Pelicans fan.
I mean, we watched Steve Nash. I mean, Kyle Lowry's not as old as Steve Nash, but I mean, he's 36. He's not the skilled player Nash was. But I just feel like that's a lot. They're probably gonna throw him some 3-year 90 stuff. And that's
God
for a guy
bless
that's 36
America.
years old. Kyle Lowry, that he relies a lot on his like trying to get to the rim, a lot of physicality, takes a lot of charges, takes a lot of beatings. He's not a, that's interesting. But credit to Lowry, I think he's going to get absolutely paid by the. I'd see him going to New Orleans for sure.
That'd be fun. Fine. Let's get more Zion on TV. I'm not gonna complain. Shout out my boy BI. Two more names on the big list. Damian Lillard kinda was going to request a trade, kinda is going to wait until the Olympics are over, kinda, it now eliminated one team from possibly coming to get him in the Lakers by not, saying it and picking his destination from the jump.
Yeah.
What the hell do you make of the Dame situation, man? It could go so many different ways. And then I think the worst option is him just saying, I'm going to run it back one more time with Portland.
I feel like we've seen this movie a million times now, right? Like it has the same ending. Dame is trying to make it. I feel like him and his camp are trying to make it a clean breakup. It's never a clean breakup. Once you request a trade, it's ugly. Like it's ugly every time. James Harden, Anthony Davis, whoever requests a trade, it gets ugly. That's just what it is. And I think eventually Dame will make it ugly because that's what it does. And he'll eventually put that request in. I don't think he wants to do it while he's in Tokyo. You know what I mean? 1,000 miles away, having to deal with that, time zone and everything. So I think he would rather do it in the States. But I think that's what's coming. Him, Beal, this movie ends the exact same way. I don't know if Beal will do it this summer. Beal seems a little bit more. I don't know if he's on your list as well. But Dame, yeah, for sure. That I think he's eventually going to request it. I don't know if they move him. I mean, Dame's on a 3-year contract. I think Dame has 3 or 4 years left. So his leverage is
3 more years, man.
Yeah, but I mean,
pick his team.
He's, man,
game one, he's playing for.
I lean Blazers, but if it's not him, I think Philly would probably be the team I would look at for him. I think Simmons is as good a get as you can for Dame, and then the picks and whatever they can kind of throw, maybe Maxey or whoever else is on the team. But yeah, I think Philly's the one. Philly has to do something. I mean, there's no way they can, run it back either. But yeah, I think Dame is going to lean Portland, but Philly is where they're going to give it a chance with Chauncey, right? Chauncey's a new coach now as well. So
yeah, he'll give Chauncey a year. I feel like, also, from a standpoint, Dame probably is very aware that Chauncey is a first-year black head coach. Don't want to just leave him a la James Harden did with Houston and Silas. So I think he's aware of that. And I do think that this is probably his last few months with the Blazers. I also could see a trade deadline type of thing where it literally changes the complex of the NBA standings and who's now the favorites to come out the East. You teed it up perfectly because the last name on the big boys list is Mr. Ben Simmons. And this is a guy who I've already, in my earlier episodes, I'll post the link here, had my Ben Simmons rant of, yes, it is the darkest time in his career right now, but you are going to be sick if he ends up with an actually good basketball team where he can thrive in. Now, Portland, I'm retracting that statement. They are a well-run franchise, but that's kind of where Ben Simmons goes to die as far as his name and any notoriety that he wanted around him. Where do you see this story ending? Because he is getting moved.
Yeah, for sure. This is the toughest one, man, because like Ben Simmons, I know it's at a low point now, but he's too talented to like not, at least have some kind of flip. Like where I don't want to see him, I'll answer that. I don't want to see him on Golden State. Like I feel like that'd be a kill. That's the perfect team for him. People are talking about Wiseman's, whoever they picked at 7-14 for Ben Simmons. I don't think Philly does that because they're trying to win now.
They're trying to win. What the hell?
Yeah. So
let's go get another center to put behind Joel Embiid. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is I feel like Minnesota would probably be like where they kind of land on kind of D'Angelo Russell. And then you can kind of put other pieces with that and then get Ben Simmons for that. His market is so tough to kind of gauge right now because Daryl Morey is asking for a bunch. I guess people are leaking Daryl Morey's trade, offers, which is
crying. This is what happens, man. When you walk around with just knives in your pockets, folks are gonna start walking around backwards when you show up. Like you can't just be, Pooh Shiesty, that's my dog, but Pooh, I'm really if you really shiesty, bro, they gonna treat you like that. So, Daryl Morey, as many wheeling and dealings he's done in over his years, and he's done plenty of deals. Bro, the book's kind of written now how you get down. Same way with Mr. Danny Ainge, and now we see he's about to go tear down Utah's organization, which I'm not too upset about either. But
Morey, another guy that's very Excel spreadsheet basketball. Like hey, the numbers don't fit here. We got to move it. Very much of, and I think that kind of rubs some people the wrong way sometimes. So it's funny to see all those trade requests kind of come out. But yeah, Ben Simmons is a tough one to gauge because he also like Philly kind of burn the bridge, which is weird. Usually it's the player that burns the bridge, like it's really weird to see the team do it, especially the other star player. Like I've never really seen that before.
Bro, they're off. They were so off of him. And like the whole talk, Raj, like for years was which way is the organization going to go? Are they going to go Joel or are they going to go Ben? Like, because they're not the most beautiful fit. And the argument was like, well, Joel gets hurt a lot. And they're like, well, Ben Simmons doesn't fucking shoot. So, and now it seems like they're definitely team Joel, who, had an MVP caliber season. Ben Simmons has not, right? Don't get me wrong. Ben Simmons is always going to show up on them all defensive teams. All-star lists, I can't pencil him. I can't write him in pen. I can write Joel Embiid's name in pen on all-star teams as long as he's healthy. So the organization clearly is like, well, although we've gone to the end of the road, so like if that's the case, the price goes down, don't you think? Like you can't say, hey, I'm selling this car because I'm tired of this fucking car. I'm tired of this car don't run right and the windows don't work all the time, but you're going to have to cough up $20,000 for it because it is still, it still is, it's a Lexus, but it's just a bad one. Like, so, if the price comes down, I think the options are limitless of where he can end up. But you see teams like Toronto that's interested. You see teams like Washington that's interested. And I'm really interested in that because it's like, me personally, I wonder, can you get a Wizards-Sixers deal done for Ben Simmons without Bradley Beal? And if you can, this is also why Bradley Beal came out and said, hey, I'm straight. I'm gonna stick around for a little while. Something had to have been said or had happened. I was hypothesizing that they thought that, Spencer Dinwiddie was a foregone conclusion in a sign and trade, sending Kuz and Trez up to Brooklyn, but it sounds like Brooklyn doesn't want either one of them. But what makes Bradley Beal more comfortable with staying with Washington, which is no closer to winning a championship than they were before the Rush trade? Is it that they think that they can package. But again, what the hell does DC have that could say, hey, we're going to still stay in win now mode to Philadelphia? Like, I see a lot of teams being involved in a single transaction quickly on the horizon here. Do you feel those wins starting to blow? Like, there's a big effing package that's about to drop.
Yeah, for sure. The last thing on Simmons, like, that dude is talented. Like, he has skills, and I feel like there's ways to kind of maximize him. I feel like he has the kind of Lonzo thing where, like, he's a point guard in transition, but like in the half court, he's more like a center, just like how Lonzo is a shooting guard in the half court, kind of guy that plays off the ball as a screener. He needs another ball handler creator with him. And I think there's a way you can build a team around Ben Simmons where he's like the guy passing it out, spreading it out. It's funny because he usually, like, I don't blame Joel Embiid for throwing Ben Simmons. Like, Joel Embiid's a player, he's emotional. Doc Rivers been in the league too long to be doing, stuff like that. Like, that's a part. So I think there's going to be offers for him. I don't think they're going to be what Daryl Morey's going for here, going for the Harden package for Ben Simmons. That's gone. Like, you're not getting Damian Lillard for Ben Simmons. Like, that's over with. Like, that's like unless you like throw in all these other picks and stuff like that. Like, that's where it has to go. You're not doing a straight one-on-one swap anymore. Like there was in February even. We forget James Harden for Ben Simmons was on the table. Like that was
right.
That was there. Houston, I believe, is the one that denied
they
that.
initiated that, and Philly was like, no, we're going to do this one more year. Are you? Not everyone's meant to be successful. That's one thing that I learned in this life. Some folks are meant to trip over their own shoelaces.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be interesting. I agree with you. There's a lot of trade wins going on. It's been too quiet lately, so we'll see. Monday is probably gonna be a big time for us.
Crazy. Okay, those are the bigger names, right? I want to just start running through the list of other players where we could kind of just pinpoint and put them around. We'll do a little rapid fire here. First of all, Mr. Mike Conley, I'm all intents and purposes, is probably going to stay in the land of Mormons and continue to collect checks in Utah. Agreed?
Absolutely. He was too good for them. They were the 1 seed this year. So yeah, I feel like Mike Conley's going to be back. And they're going to run him back again. They got their first good year out of Conley. I think he was bad the first year. So, yeah, definitely he'll be back in Utah.
They're trying to package Joe Ingles up. And one of the Bogdanovic, like, I'm sorry. Like, you'll have to excuse me. That there are a lot of itches in the NBA these days that are 6'9" and can shoot. So
they're all good, too.
They're all good. I don't know what you could get back for both those guys. Like, again, they could be a part of a big boy trade. Right, because those are bigger names that make decent amount of money that can help grease up the wheels on any transaction. So we'll see what Utah's got up their sleeves there. I'll tell you what, they have a new ownership, and they also have Dwayne Wade now. They're not going to operate like the Utah Jazz of, past memory where it's like, we're just going to be quiet year after year and just like try to build up inside. I would not be surprised they start swinging for the fences with some transactions coming up because they are in their championship window as long as Donovan Mitchell is there and, Agent Zero, Rudy Gobert is still in his prime. So Utah, I expect to still be contenders. A weird guy coming up next. I have 2 weird cases, actually. You just give me locations for both of them. Victor Oladipo on one end is turning down contracts and then getting hurt again, right? Then you got Spencer Dinwiddie, who just is getting hurt and is rehabbing and is now a free agent. Where do you see these 2 dynamic playmaking guards ending up next season?
Who was the first one again? Sorry, I was thinking of Dinwiddie.
Victor Oladipo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Victor Oladipo. Yeah, man, that's a rough one. He turned down with like a 2-year, $45 million from Houston, which even at the time I thought was like,
it's tradable. That's the only other thing, bro. Like, just take the fucking money and tell them, hey, 7 games in, we suck. I want to go play for a contender. Leak it. They're going to oblige you eventually.
Yeah, exactly. And then he got hurt again with Miami, I believe. So that's really tough, man. He can be on any team. Like, he could be on the Lakers next year, on a minimum. Like,
I would not be shocked, right? It's a rehab year, right?
He can get minutes. We don't have a 2 guard right now. Like, just from like transactionally on our roster, we don't have a 2 guard. Like, Victor Oladipo can come in, get minutes. He's also in that kind of used to be a star player, has respect of, other stars around the league. He's you can literally, just put on a map, close your eyes, and put your fingers on one of the states, and maybe he'll be there. Spencer Dinwiddie, I feel like Dallas is probably the way for him. At least that's kind of what I
Yes,
see. Some kind
that's
of
what
sign and
Dallas need.
trade. I think Brooklyn wants to get something for him. They're obviously not going to keep him. I don't think they're signing Spencer Dinwiddie to a $20 million deal, but I think Dallas is a place for him. Give Luka another ball handling guard. So yeah, I think he'll be there. He was rumored with the Lakers too for a little while, but
A little bit, but every good
bit,
player should be.
Right. Yeah, I see him in Dallas.
What are we gonna do with Dance Dance Revolution, DeMar DeRozan? He has been weaving in and out of Laker rumors and foregoing everything like we talked about earlier. What's your official guess on where he ends up?
Man, I feel like New York is a team for him. Like, just like they're kind of in that, not competing for a title, but they want to take that little other step forward where, like, from a 8 seed or a 7, or they were a 4 actually this year, right? Or I forgot.
Yeah,
They
Knicks
were
were the 4 seed.
4 seed. Yeah, it just doesn't feel that they were the 4, which with the way they were kicked out of the playoffs. But I think he'd be a nice like pickup for them to kind of stay where they are in that 4 seed in the East. That's probably gonna be a little tougher next year. So I feel like Knicks would be a place for him. But again, if he doesn't get paid, maybe he can come home. Like, I mean, if all things equal, I think he would come home. I just don't think you're getting DeRozan for $5 million. Like, that's insane to me. But Laker fans go have it, man. If we get him, we get him. I'll be happy. I don't see. I'm not betting on that.
Right. It's a thing right now when we look at veteran players that still have a lot left in the tank, and if they are a possible a candidate to join the Lakers, you just got to say some of these things out loud. Do they have options to make equal money and still contend for what that team thinks is an NBA title? If the answer is yes, the Lakers fall back, right? But if all things are equal, the Lakers have the edge. Right now, all things are not equal, what I think, when it comes to DeMar. I think he'll have suitors as well. I think you said Spence. I say DeMar for Dallas might be interesting.
I like that too.
In trying to, bring in another dynamic ball handler that can get their own shot and take the burden off of Luka, who was another case. We talk about non-LeBron minutes. You take Luka off the court in Dallas, my God, is that heaven and hell. So, I'd say look out for DeMar down there, and Mark Cuban and that new Nike exec that took over, trying to put together a competitive roster. Next few guys I have them going to the same place. Let me see if you have them similar locations. Lonzo Ball and Derrick Rose, I think, for different reasons, are both going to end up with the Chicago Bulls. I think the Lonzo rumor, he's a restricted free agent, but this has been a long runway of his name and the Bulls coming together. The Bulls front office, AK, he just went and got Vucevic the trade deadline before. Zach LaVine clearly is not comfortable with all this goddamn losing in Chicago. And I think we all know what that veiled comment actually means. Like, hey, we need to start winning or I'm about to bounce. I think this is another acquisition that, the Bulls have set their eyes on for a while, and they need to execute this summer. What do you think about Lonzo and the Bulls getting together?
Yeah, like that's another thing why I think the Pelicans are running on this weird timeline. Lonzo was good last year, like legitimately good. He shot a high percentage from 3 on good volume. He's a good defender, big time transition player. Should fit seamlessly next to Zion. But again, you're on this other, like, it's crazy to me. He's the second biggest part of that AD trade. Like, if you look at it just from like Ingram, Lonzo, and then whatever picks they're going to get from us that are going to be bottom of the draft. So, like, Lonzo to me is the second big part, and just to let him walk would be kind of crazy to me. But yeah, he looks like he'll be in Chicago. I think that's a good fit for them. Him and LaVine should be a really fun backcourt. I see him there. Derrick Rose, I feel like the Knicks are going to try to bring him back. And he was such a big part of their team. I mean, even in the playoffs, like, you couldn't take Derrick Rose off the floor. Couldn't score. They were getting run off the floor by the Hawks when Derrick Rose wasn't playing. So I think they'll try to bring him back. I think going home would be a fun story for him as well. But I think he'll be back in New York. I think you see him in Chicago, but I feel like the Knicks are going to retain him. The Knicks are competent again. Like, they are, well, I guess, I don't know if again is the way to say it, but they're at least confident. They have Leon Rose running things. I think he knows what he's doing. So I feel like Derrick Rose will be in New York, and I see Lonzo in Chicago as well.
Okay. Yeah, definitely an emotional play. And, Bulls fans love recirculating that video of when Derrick Rose found out he got traded and he's crying in the crib and stuff. It's like, well, y'all fucking traded him. And there's not really something they keep posting, right? But it's weird. Derrick has had 2 stints in New York. Mm-hmm. Maybe his second stint to try to be 6th man of the year with his hometown Bulls is a storybook ending for his career, because I think Derrick is probably in the back third, obviously. I don't know how many more destinations he has. I kind of don't really know how many more contracts after this next one are going to be, favorable for him. So he might look at it, this is my last chance at whatever bag I need to get. Then again, Adidas threw him a lifetime contract as well. So, life is good over there in Derrick Rose land, but it would be nice for the city, me being here, if he could come back home and Lonzo also be on that Chicago roster. That's a hell of an offseason for the Bulls. And they brought in AO, who is another Chicago boy, then went down to play for U of I and lead them to their first #1 seed. And since the Darren Williams days. And so there's a lot of good momentum in Chicago. As a Cubs fan, it fucking sucks right now, but it's all good. It's all good. Go Bears.
Derrick, I know we had that Hooper basketball player, fun conversation. Derrick Rose seems like a guy who loves to hoop though. I feel like he's gonna hoop as long as he can. His kind of transformation of his game. You don't do that unless you really love basketball and put the time in, and him becoming not just a serviceable jump shooter, a guy you have to actually chase over screens on, because he can hit that mid-range pull-up now. So I think it shows a lot. He's a guy I think that'll hoop as long as he can. Seems like he really loves the game. So I think
you just had to bring up that basketball versus Hooper combo. My God,
I know you love that one.
It was just if to me, it's one of those things. But sometimes I'd be giving folks too much credit or assuming too much. It's we know. Then I see it turns into an argument. I'm like, wait, y'all don't know this? Clearly, Tim Duncan, you put him on an NBA street game, isn't going to look as great as being in an actual system with 4 of the guys around him. I understand that. That is clear. But also, Jamal Crawford wasn't leading no fucking team to a championship. What do you want me to do with this? What is the relevancy in the combo when you need both to win a title? So, it is.
Yeah.
All right. Last couple of names, Raj. I'm going to get you out of here. We have, God damn it, how do you make this list? We have Dennis Schroder, who fumbled his own bag. No tears will be on my pillow over where this man's next destination is. It is not going to be the Los Angeles Lakers with Brody in the building. The only other piece left of the relationship possibly is a sign and trade to somewhere else so he can make more money. But who is going to give Dennis Schroder that money that he thought was out in these streets? Is it the Knicks? Is it the Bulls? There aren't many names that are connected to him anymore.
Yeah, it's a rough kind of market. When he went on the market with all these other point guards that are also on the market now, Dennis Schroder also small guard. That's where I was wondering when these kind of who's paying Dennis Schroder $25 million to be their point guard. That's where I'm really not sure of. New York is the only place that's really been shown that's gonna make an offer.
But we just gave him a compliment about being smart.
That is true.
I would say both those teams, Raj, the Bulls and the Knicks, if they had their old leadership. Easy, Dennis could have robbed them banks in Chicago and New York. Not anymore.
Yeah. Also, Dennis kind of put the cart before the horse a bunch. He's like, yeah, I'm not coming off the bench. I don't want to come off the bench anymore. These kind of comments that are okay in a vacuum. But when you're going into free agency, when you're going to, all this stuff where can you play a role on a good team? And, you have these comments as well. He wants to be a starter. Well, it's nothing wrong with wanting to be a starter. But, it's just really hard when you're, LeBron and AD cover up for a lot, but Dennis Schroder is a small 6'1" guard. Really he can defend, really good point of the attack defender. But in the playoffs, it's really tough to win with guards that are that small. It just is. This one's so tough.
No pun intended in the tough.
New York is probably the one. I don't think he's going to get the $25 million a year.
No.
I think his market's down to 15, maybe something like that. New York. we can kind of still have our fingers crossed for the Sacramento, Buddy Hield, Washington three-way kind of
He deserves
extravaganza.
Sacramento. That
Oh
based on
man,
this past season and just how we put the cart before the horse, very Sacramento Kings vibes. Very, we're going to sign Hassan Whiteside vibes. Very, we know Luke Walton wasn't a good coach, but we're going to sign him anyway vibes. Like, I'm praying if there's any chance that Buddy Hield could still end up a Laker while involving Dennis Schroder being shipped out to cow country, California, I pray this is the situation. That is why they have cowbells at their games, right? There's a lot of fucking farmland and shit.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know. I haven't been to Sacramento like one time, even though they're the capital of our state. But yeah, I don't know.
Is it really? I didn't even fucking know that.
Yeah, capital of California is Sacramento.
And y'all just shit on it every single like. Damn, it's really not a whole lot going on there.
Yeah, and I really don't know how Luke is still the man over there. I've seen coaches get let go for a lot worse. I'm talking a lot worse. I mean, Coach Bud would have been fired this year if they don't win the title. Just think about that compared to the Sacramento expectations. But they have De'Aaron Fox, who's good. Like we can shit on Sacramento, but De'Aaron Fox is a good player, really good. They just drafted Davion Mitchell, right? Like he's I don't know much about college, but I know he's a 6'1" point guard. So I know so Dennis Schroder wouldn't really fit there. Even though I don't know, they make bad decisions all the time, but I feel like he would go to Washington, I guess, as like that. I could see that. I could see the Wizards kind of having a stopback, like a stopback year for point guards for them and just get Dennis Schroder in. Yeah, the market is rough, man. When you're having all these other point guards, Lowry, Lonzo, Spencer Dinwiddie, all these guards are on the market at the same time. Should just took the 4-year 80, should just took it, went on with it, but
we won't officially say the bag has been fumbled, but it's definitely being juggled right now, and he getting popped from different angles. So we'll see if that touches the ground. All right, last one, and then I got a couple big men for you. Mr. Danny Green is now a free agent. I still think he is going to have an NBA job. He is going to keep employment in this league. So I know all the Shanghai Shark jokes that the timeline says about him. He is still a usable NBA player, and very much so. I have a team in mind, but I want to know where you think Danny Green could end up next season.
Danny Green seems like a guy to me. Like I think Philly would love to bring him back. I think they were really good with him. He was good this year, actually. He shot, of course, he shot his best from three in forever the year he leaves the Lakers. Of course, that's what happened. I think he hit, 9 on us? Did he hit 9 on us that in?
Oh, yep. The Danny Green revenge game. We knew it was coming. We all said it was coming, so.
Yeah. It wasn't just that he was hitting him. He was hitting, like, pump fake, sidestep, threes, like, okay, anyway, enough with that. But I think Dallas was a team that he was rumored to before he signed with the Lakers. He could be on a bunch of teams to me. But I kind of wrote down Dallas, Philly. I would love him back here as well if for the right amount. Well, if for the vet minimum, or if the market kind of dries up on him, but two-way shooter with Danny Green still is a two-way player. He's not a speedy defender, but he's really good. He's smart. He knows what he's doing.
Smart.
He's a good
witty.
Witty, yeah, good transition defender as well. He got a lot of crap from us, but once you win the title, I feel like there's some benefit of the doubt that should come. Kuzma got none of it, which I think is hilarious with the fan base. Absolutely zero benefit of the doubt.
He said goodbye, and everybody said, "The fuck you still here for?" Like, folks weren't even expecting a goodbye post for him. Like, it's like, guys, please. We get it. We know it wasn't the greatest experience. Just at least thank the man for winning a title, bro. Like,
yeah, they're like, duck your head on the way out. You know what I mean? Don't hit your head on the
right.
door, But yeah. So Danny Green's another guy I feel like got very little benefit of the doubt. He missed that shot in Game 5. But yeah, a guy I would like back on a veteran minimum, not $15 million a year, because I don't think he's that amount anymore. But he's still in the $8-9 million range to me, a player. I think Dallas would be a great fit for him. Philly, I think, would love him back. That's the kind of teams I see for him.
So my official pick is the Clippers, and it's because of the Kawhi injury. I think that's an easy fit next to Paul George. Hey, you can come be the starting two guard, right? And just we'll just rock out like that. You shoot threes. They'll probably try to bring back Reggie Jackson in some capacity, right? That is still a playoff team. And then everybody started fucking calling me Clipper Ricky because I hated that.
That's not fun.
That was not fun. But
if you thought Danny Green was hated before, man.
And that was the other thing. It's like he goes over to Clipper Nation. I might have to remix Danny Green can't hit a three. Now he playing for the enemy. That they would not be good. But hey, more power to him. I'm not attacking Danny Green the person. I hope he makes as much money as he can and he finds success wherever he's at. But when you suit up against the Lakers, you should remember how to forget how to shoot threes like when you were on the Lakers. So all best of luck to Daniel. All right, I'm gonna name off these the big boys. You just give me a spot for them, and I
got you.
Bobby Portis, Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond. Where do you see him?
Portis, I think he's back in Milwaukee. I think that both sides want to reach an agreement on that. He was too good in the finals for them not to bring back.
He's a cold hero, man.
Oh, he was great, awesome dude. Fought Chris Paul, which I think brought his stock even higher. So yeah, I think he'll be great again in Milwaukee. Blake Griffin, I think will be back with Brooklyn as well. I just don't know who's paying Blake Griffin at all. Andre Drummond, as long as it's not here. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just like I'm not sure. No, I'm just kidding with that.
Ain't the fucking Lakers.
Andre Drummond, man, I have no idea. But I think teams are gonna sell themselves on him. He's gonna get a contract somewhere. I don't think he's getting paid as he thought he would this offseason, but I think he's gonna go to some bad team, put up some numbers to try to get paid again. I can see Charlotte, a team like that needs needs big men. I think that's where he'll be kind of fit, some kind of basketball, away from the spotlight season, which I think he needs. I don't think Andre Drummond needs to be, in our faces very much more. I think
bro, he's trying to sell NFT of like his own shit, and it's like, bro, what level did you think you were on that folks were about to do that and design a basketball shoe with your ass? Like, learn a third post move, learn a second post move. That's just my simple request when trying to be a 7-footer playing basketball and trying to do hezzies and shit at the perimeter. I say he can enjoy New York. I think he was rumored that the Knicks wanted him in the buyout, being their big man over there. So I could see that Leon spinning the block. You always got to think about with these buyout candidates who had interest before. They're probably going to have interest again afterwards. I don't think one bad stint with the Lakers is going to be the end all to his career. They also talked about Miami, which I don't really understand. If they said like, oh yeah, move Bam to the 4. Well, now what the hell are we doing? What are we doing? Why? What are we like? What is the point of playing basketball now? If Bam is no longer your small ball 5, he's your traditional 4 now. And now you have a traditional 5 that doesn't have traditional 5 post moves. So I don't know. That was a really weird fit. But I had Andre Drummond looking in New York. Back to Blake. We're same on Bobby Portis. I think he stays in Milwaukee. Blake really feels like it's going to be Brooklyn or another team that's still thinking they're a contender but aren't having the best offseason. So I would think the Blazers to try to appease Dame in some capacity. Blake Griffin is the name that they, tried to add fuel to the fire with. Doesn't sound like they're going to retain I forget, oh boy, that keeps breaking his fucking foot. The tall dude, Collins. John Collins. Yeah, I think he's going to hit unrestricted free agency. So, maybe Blake Griffin lobs is what is going to keep Dame in Portland. I don't know, but it's not looking good. He had a good stint, but I definitely think he needs to still be hidden behind all those superstars in Brooklyn to be a effective player at this stage. So
yeah, for sure. And on the thing on Drummond, it's hard to have a big who can't catch, doesn't defend as he should, can move his feet but doesn't protect the rim. Like, it's really hard to have a big that 7 foot can't space the floor and can't defend the rim. Like, those are like, your big has to do one at least, to me, and that's what's really tough. But the Drummond experience didn't work out as it was supposed to. But Yeah, I think he's gonna go to some bad team, put up some numbers, and then.
Good for hey, Andre. Some players are just here to make a whole bunch of money, brother. You know.
He's made a good amount too. He's already got his max rookie extension, so he's doing okay.
You're straight, man. You're an NBA player. You're 7 feet tall. You know, you're not Shaq though. You're not Bam. You're not Jokic, and you're not AD. So you're just gonna have to find more peace on who you are, and before other teams can continue to compensate you like that.